Hey there, how the heck are ya? Welcome back for another episode of the Beam Building University. We've got everything about walls and rooms for you today, and I just wanted to start off and say that these building tutorials are for anyone from new to old, no matter how long you've been simming. I just want to share some information that I've picked up along my years of building in The Sims. And thank you so much for watching, and let's get into it. All right, so this is the first screen that we're usually met by when we enter build mode in The Sims 4. And the easiest way that I prefer to navigate to the walls and empty rooms area is by clicking on the little house right over here in the lower left-hand corner. And we're met by a whole bunch of different buttons. And today we're just going to be focusing on walls and rooms, not really anything about platforms or decks at this point. So those will be in future videos. So just so you know about that. So first and foremost, we have our really simple wall tool. And I really like to use that grid tool that we discussed in our last video. You can toggle that by using the G key for those of you who are unfamiliar with it. And this first wall tool will allow you to just click and drag single walls just like this. You can do angled ones, and then you can also do your straight ones as well. Then next we have the room tool, and this tool will allow us to draw rectangles or squares, anything with like all four walls, and it'll automatically complete the room just like that for you. And next we have the custom room tool, and each time that you click while using this tool, it creates a corner. So you got to click to start, and then you click to make another corner, and we're going to drag it all the way across, click and click and click again, and boom, you have your room. You can do a lot of different shapes with this one too. You can kind of get fun with these if you wanted to. Yeah, there you can see we've got kind of this zigzaggy moment that you can create using that custom room tool. We're going to skip over platforms because this is something that we're going to be getting into in a future video. Next, we have the basement tool. So basements, whenever you use the basement tool right here, you can see that it's the tool that creates the four walls that we were discussing earlier. When you use this, it creates directly on the level right below you. So you can continue to go just like that, and it goes down and down and down. And however, if you do want to add on to a room that you've already made in the basement, you can click on the room tool or the wall tool right over here. And then you can kind of draw and add on, or you can even eventually like learn how to take away if you wanted to do that for your room. And I did that by creating a room and then deleting the piece that I didn't want there. Kind of a nice functionality of the basements. And then of course we have the custom basement tool. This is that tool where you click to make each individual corner. So you can make those really funky, weird shapes that we were discussing a little bit earlier. After that, we have a variety of triangular room tools. We've got square room, L-shaped room, and then octagonal room. And you can place all of these and kind of decide how you might like to use those. I wanted to get into a little bit on how to identify a room. I've created this nice little box here for us. And what we're going to want to do with our select tool is you're going to want to click on it. And everything that is considered to be contained within that room is going to be within those white borders, if you will, right here. You'll notice that there are a bunch of different tools that appear once you've selected a room. You can use these little levers to drag things around or shorten them if you want to. And this is how you add platforms. I'm going to get into platforms in a future video as well too, but this is just about rooms, but that is how you create a platform if you're curious. Then we also have the raised platform and the lower platform tools. Again, that's a platform video I'll be getting into a little bit more. You can move the room by selecting move, and that'll move the individual room and everything within those white parameters that are visualized right here. You can select wall height from medium wall to short wall to tall wall right here. And then you can even copy a room just like that. You can rotate it if you want to. You can duplicate it. Let's go up, kind of like there. And real quick, I do want to back up for just a second and slow down on one thing that I just did there. So we're going to make this a short wall too. The grid system is specifically helpful. And I want to emphasize this because I struggled with this for quite a while. And then someone on my Twitch chat actually brought it up to turn on the grid again. Sometimes it kind of sneaks off. You might do something else and then forget to turn it back on. If you're struggling to like place a room or want this to be up higher, place the grid and it'll make it easier to snap right onto that second level or pay attention to that particular level where you're trying to build. And this is especially useful if you're trying to draw individual walls and you're not really sure like where you want to place them. Just kind of start by drawing on the grids on whatever level that you want to build. And you can go up and down the floors. So you'll always want to be like on the floor of whatever level that you're trying to build on and trying to create rooms on. I want to back up just a bit and I want to go back to that handy dandy wall tool that we had before. The wall tool and the room tool have alternate sort of functionality, if you will. So you can use both of them within one or the other tool. If you hold the shift key, you'll notice at the top of my cursor there that it toggles between the room and then the wall tool. And this is done with each of those tools respectively here. So the room tool, if you hit shift, it becomes the wall tool, and the wall tool becomes the room tool if you hit that shift key. So that's another fun little tip and something that you can use on the fly. One other common question that comes up on my stream. So for instance, if you are somebody who is really into making tiny homes and you have tiny living, right? The little stuff pack that just came out. So say you ran out of tiles or something like that and you wanted to add on just a little bit more of like an area, there's a way that you can kind of bypass that system, and that's by creating a fake room. And how you can do this is you can draw whatever walls that you're trying to use or, you know, to match what you're trying to add on to your house, and you can move by using the move tool and clicking on each individual wall and kind of placing everything just where you want it to be. So you won't be able to roof this as a flat piece. However, your Sims will be guarded from weather if you have seasons, and from sunlight if you have vampires, if you do put that roof piece right over it. And that's a good way to kind of cheat the system without adding on to the tiles that are up on the upper piece here if you have that tiny living pack and you're trying to make a micro home, a small home, or a tiny home. So just kind of a fun little tidbit there. So that's kind of how you can make fake rooms. Next, I wanted to discuss a little bit about wall height. And again, if we navigate towards clicking on any wall or room that you've kind of placed down at this point, you'll notice that we have the short wall, the medium wall, and the tall wall tools. And I've made a floor for each of these respectively. So we've got our short wall, we've got our medium wall, and our tall wall. What objects such as doors or windows and like arches and stuff like that will change and vary depending on what wall height you have. So for the tallest wall, you can use every single size below that. For the short wall, you can't use anything but short wall. You can't use medium and you can't use tall. Well, you can, but that's for another video. In addition to that, we also have something called half walls. And along with the Snowy Escape update and platforms that came out around that time, we were given all sorts of different sizes of these half walls. They're really, really cool. And you can also use these to make rooms too. However, your Sims are not guarded from embarrassment. So if you want to like make a room out of these, other Sims can still see beyond that. And depending on what the maximum size of walls that you have on your house at that point, depends on what ones that you can like use or unlock for that moment. At this point, since I have all tall walls, or I have short, medium, and tall walls, I can use the tallest half wall. Another quick way that you can make rooms is by drawing fences. So fences over here, if you click the little fence icon on the house, then you have place fences by drawing. And then we also have place fence enclosure, which is what you can see what I did right here. And then you can even use the replace fence tool right here. And then any existing walls, or maybe you want to like change your fence or something, but don't quite feel like redrawing it, then you can use this tool right there. One more item. So say you wanted to have this room without the ceiling on it for whatever reason. So you can click that handy sledgehammer tool that we have right here by pressing the K button or by clicking on it. And you can click on whatever you want to delete. And then that'll make this room just completely enclosed. It'll make it without a ceiling. So the sunshine is coming right in. And this is the way that you can also make lofted rooms too. So if we drag this right over like that, and kind of draw this. And then you can make a loft if you want. And there's various ways that you can work with this. But this is one of the simplest ways that I've thought. Maybe you could add like a ladder, or even like maybe another little, oh heck, you know what? Let's use that flat square tool that's in the walls and rooms tool area. And we're gonna put this right here, right at the top. And again, I want to toggle the grid because that's going to be a lot easier for me to place it properly. Otherwise, it might go on the bottom level, might be a little bit weird, but the grid is going to enable you to really like narrow down where you're putting that. Sometimes if you're placing those flat rooms like that, you'll want to make sure that you replace those walls. And oh no, Zef, what happened though? Okay, so no worries. This is one other area where this the custom room tool kind of comes into play here, but we're gonna lose this functionality with the lofted piece. It does break the room. It's kind of unfortunate, but you can draw the room to repair everything by clicking on all these corners, and then it'll replace it again. There, I fixed it. We can click to add the ceiling. So just backing up what I did right quick right there, is you can see how these are technically those two different rooms. You can go up and you can click build ceiling, remove ceiling, and let's go back down again. Oh my God, really? Okay, or not. Oh my God. Let's try that again. Let's click this here. There we go. Okay, so we redrew that room, but again, you know, it's a little finicky with the way that the platforms and whatnot work, but or not the platforms, but those flat squares. But you'll break your room, but you can kind of make it visually work for you in whatever the way that you want it to work. If we go back down to the ground floor, we can make some angled rooms. Angled rooms can be a little bit difficult when it comes to roofing, depending on how you place them. Sometimes your roof won't quite fit properly, but there are some different roofs that you can use. And that's kind of a tidbit of information here to take back with you. I'm going to do another build by tutorial next week all about roofing. We'll get into that a little bit more. But if you're having difficulties with your roof really not fitting on your angled room, try moving it like a little bit to the left, a little bit forward, and just moving it around to see if you can get it to work. That's all I honestly have on the basics of like walls and rooms, from wall heights to the functionality and the ways that like different windows and doors kind of work with it. That kind of, I guess, the 101 and the basics on how to navigate the world of walls and rooms. There are some ways that you can kind of cheat the system and bypass stuff. And actually, one last item. Okay. If you are somebody who has city living, and as I mentioned earlier, and you really wanted to upload this room to the gallery or this house to the gallery, but you really can't because it's an apartment, right? So one way that we can bypass this, I'm going to sit here and I'm actually going to delete all of these walls. So then it makes one big room. But Zef, oh my God, I don't like the big holes in the wall. Don't worry. Wait, just wait. I got this for you. We're going to draw those individual pieces, and you can use the select tool right over here. We're going to drag it and kind of place it in. And we're going to do it again. I'm going to take this just like that. It's kind of that fake room thing that we're talking about. We're going to fix up the wallpaper as we see fit. And there you go. And you can click and it's one big giant room. And you can go here, save to my library. You can't save it as the house. You can go as save room, and then it saves the entire apartment. So that's kind of a little fun piece that I picked up a couple years ago, and I really wanted to share that with you. And again, thank you for watching. I really hope this was helpful. It kind of gives you like a crash course on the 101, the absolute basics of how to navigate the world of walls and rooms. Again, as we get into like a little bit more of like the more in-depth building, there might be like case-by-case scenarios that come up, and I'll break those down and explain those as we go along. But that was just a crash course. I know there's much more out there. Thank you so much for watching, and sound off in the comments and let me know what the heck else you want to see. And again, next week we've got everything about roofing, or not everything rather, but you know, just some basics about roofing. We'll get you started and we'll get you a little more comfortable and confident, and maybe kind of change your perspective on how roofing can work for you. Like, I always say thank you so much for watching, and until next time, tomorrow's a beautiful day, especially with you in it, and I will catch you on the next one.